Hello and welcome to A Voice of Generation X with Andrea Lambert and special guest Alicia Pulver. And today, this episode is called Raw and Uncut, and we're going to be talking about serious stuff.
And I look at least raw and uncut.
I spent some frenetic moments putting
for reals.
We were having a morning phone call. Coffee.
And our morning phone call kind of led into this. What are things that people are kind of afraid to say, but it needs to be said? You should never have to live in a body where you feel like you want to kill yourself.
No.
You need to make sure to go get help or have friends or support or know to call 211 because guess what? There's so many forms of depression and different mental illnesses that can take you off this earth. Or it could even just be like being raped, you know?
That's a horrible experience, but yeah.
And you're like, oh, that sounds so scary. I'm like, is it that scary in this world anymore? I don't think so. I do not think so. I mean, the scariest thing is not having a friend too that coexists that's gone through it. Because sometimes it's really scary to call the paramedics. I get it. But sometimes the medication's not working really well with you. And I get it.
That problem. Oh my God. It's just,
I'm
really glad and thankful that now my meds are stabilized. And I turned 48 in a couple weeks and everything seems to be smooth sailing medically. But I've had
not like Andrea, for instance, when we first met.
Yeah, we adjusted.
I'll never forget. She was the only person at the hospital that full blown had dresses with stockings, and I was like, "What?" As I'm drooling on my licorice whip, I was like, "This is some crazy ass shit." It's just a different. I was like, I had one outfit on me.
I thought I was going to do a normal detox, not basically the LA drunk shit.
I had no plans of going there. Most
people, everyone else there had no plans of ending up there. I was the only person that was like, "Oh, I'll be here." And
you drove your car there and everything. I'm like,
and I'm a composer. Yeah, they told me, you can come.
We went into a rapid detox place, right?
Yeah, so that's.
And the thing is I was getting stalked, and I also need to get off alcohol, and it was an interesting situation because all of a sudden this I always saw Andrea from now on. She comes down and she's in a dress and she's in a with stockings on. I was like, wait, and I'm drooling on my licorice whip, straight up. I was like, all right. And then we became immediate friends.
It was just one of those things, you're in this intense situation, you gravitate.
I don't know why you gravitated towards me. I'd be like, that's a derelict.
You told interesting stories in group, and I was like, I think she can relate to some of the things that I've lived through,
And okay, so for instance, with me, I've been in the entertainment industry for the vast majority of my life. And all I can say is some of the things that go down are not cool. And it's hard to think that you can speak up, especially when you've got billionaire companies above you. But you need to understand that there's people that love you and there is a source. Call 211. And also, you can reach out to either of us and we will reciprocate. I work avidly with the Model Alliance, and if you're going through an eating disorder, let me know, honey.
She's been really great in talking to people that called in before, and thank you for.
And Andrea, have you ever had body dysmorphia thing?
A little bit. I was playing. In fact, I just opened it up again. This video game called Covet that has these models that you dress in various little outfits. It's very silly. It's like paper dolls for adults. But it was starting to give me body where I was like, I'm just not tall and thin enough. And I was like, well, I'm never not going to be 5'4". I'm just going to be like various bits of plumper or not. And I was like, yeah, this video game is
That's another
a
reason
false
why I was
idea
saying before that
of what
if
people should
people
look.
should like
I should,
dissipate on social media,
yeah.
it would make them healthier. It's like
Oh, right, what we were talking about. Yeah, about how like social media, you had theories about how it's not so good
I
for.
mean, honestly, it's overwhelmed people's lives that they're like the only way that we can become somebody is to be everybody. And
Yeah,
guess
it
what?
really has
That
to cover
that
that.
makes people cut themselves. It makes them literally disillusioned, and it's not going to make you famous. Maybe for 2 seconds,
I
like,
don't know. I don't know if it will or
but
not. I mean, it's had
it's
a
not.
role in building my
It,
things a
if
little
you're
bit,
like if you're comparing
but that was
yourself to,
also the past.
but you know how like on Instagram, it's all like comparing yourself to other people, and same
Right.
with
Like
like
right now, it seems like everything has really blown up.
it's an
Blown
aggressive
up.
world out there.
It is really aggressive. Yeah. I mean, I use it because it's the only way I interact with the outside world, pretty much. It's like outside Reno was there, but I think I saw the most of it I ever have when I was watching Reno 911 this morning on my iPad, and I was just like, oh, it's Reno. Oh, gosh, it looks pretty out there. Goodness. And then I finished the episode and have my coffee.
So bringing Andrea back, let's
Mhm.
ask her a couple of questions.
Yes.
Number
Okay.
one, number one, what was it like when you realized you needed help?
Well, okay, that's a good story actually. When I was this was when I had a serious alcohol problem, and my first wife, Katie, had just died. And I was just suffering so terribly, and I was trying to drink myself to death, I think, because I just couldn't imagine how I was going to go on without her. And so I was trying to drive myself not drunk. I wasn't drunk. I hadn't drank.
Well, also, can I just reiterate?
Oh yeah.
Her her first wife committed suicide, and she had to deal with everything.
Yeah, it was awful. And I miss her so
This
much.
is our
But
most raw and uncut episode that you're gonna see.
oh God. Yeah, I mean, so like that day I I got the car to go to see my psychiatrist, which it was a bit of a drive. It was like in Woodland Hills, and I was in Hollywood.
Wait,
And I was
that's the most responsible shit I've ever heard from someone going through trauma. It is like
well, it gets
literally
worse. It
buckle.
gets
It's like
worse because I started to have a seizure from alcohol withdrawal at 3 in the afternoon as I was trying to drive myself to my psychiatrist. So I only made it about halfway down the road. Luckily, I wasn't. It wasn't a major road. It was like a small road leading up by LA City College, and I was able to park. And I was like, "Okay, shit,
I'm
I
gonna
can drive."
divert you to my next question,
Oh yes, yes, okay.
and that is when you decided that you needed help. What put you into submission to say, "Okay, I need help"?
Well, that was after once I was able to park and like make sure my car was safe and locked and everything. And I went back to my apartment and I sat there and I was like, "Oh my god, I just had a fucking seizure." And like, I really have a problem. I really have a bad problem. And it was like the middle of the afternoon.
How did you knew that you had a problem? How did you know that
Well,
it
I knew
wasn't
I had a
like?
problem because that was a huge reason why Katie was so upset with me was because I did drink too much, and I'd been drinking too much
But
since I was
like,
in
was
college.
there an instinctual thing
It
that was
was like
like,
20
I
years
have a problem? Were you
20
getting like
years
this?
of having an alcohol problem, but then it was like I was doing so many other drugs for a while, for a period of time.
Sorry, I'm sorry that I'm laughing
It's
because it's
okay. You
like,
can laugh. I mean, I'm glad I can laugh about it now that I don't do that, you know?
no, when you said I did
But
so
like
many other drugs,
2010,
I'm like,
2008, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was in San
so
Francisco. I was working. The culture there is very intense.
anyways, and now
Yeah.
for these younger gents, they're going around trying all new, like getting
Yeah, all
dosed.
the
Like
drugs are new now.
by the way, everyone, I just got dosed. Yo,
Yeah, what?
did you get dosed? I did.
I
the other
know.
day.
Good God, that sounded so awful.
Yeah, it was hard. Like, whoa. That's why my eyes are like this. You know.
You did put on mascara, I could tell.
Well, you were like, I'm putting on makeup. I'm like, fuck this shit.
I
Fuck that.
know. Now we
I
should
mean, I
get a
wanted
pack so
this
the
to be
makeup
like
work
as
comes so
raw as we could
but
be, because you know what? Nothing brings community together that's in pain and loss
that's true.
than
I mean, that's why
knowing that there's someone else that has been there and has gone there, and it's deep and it's dark and it's not fun. But you know what is fun? Is when you get on the other round.
yes, when you get on the other side and you're sober. Now I've been sober for
It's not
10
only just
years.
sobriety, it's also what your medications are and having the
Yeah,
right
my meds are
doctors.
stable, and I feel so much better. Like I'm able to just get up in the morning and well,
I mean,
sometimes
I think it's
yeah, but
so crazy today that they want to just send everyone to a rehab when it's like they're dealing with like schizoaffective, or they're dealing
yeah,
with.
that's ridiculous because I mean, there's a huge difference. I mean, dual diagnosis is one situation, and then, but when you're just dealing with schizophrenia or schizoaffective, which is what I
Yeah,
have.
and by the way, everybody should watch Body Brokers. It literally breaks down the entire
Oh wow,
scheme.
I want to see that. I haven't seen
Yeah, I
that
mean,
yet.
it breaks it all down, like the
But I
insurance
definitely noticed a
scheme.
lot of weird stuff going on, like how they kept trying. I mean, the recovery industry, and I use the word industry very firmly in my letter
Because it is an
because it's a
industry.
major,
And it's also a monopolized industry.
it's a huge moneymaker for, well, I don't know where the money's
For
going.
like basically turning people in and out, in and out, in and out,
Right,
in and
basically
out.
keeping people in the revolving door of addiction, so they keep going back to rehab, so they keep making money, so they keep, those AA meetings keep coming back. I mean, I'm not supposed to talk about
I
AA,
called
but
Andrea last night because I made an indiscretion. I thought I was calling my therapist.
oh my god, are you
and and then all of a sudden it was like this next one they're like, okay, so you want to go to rehab? I was like, what?
Oh
I was
right,
like,
you called that those people. Oh my god.
and I was like, I think I
No,
made a
I want
really
to go.
big
Yeah, I want to
mistake.
talk to my therapist. That's
I
so
mean,
stupid.
I just because I just said, Siri, call a therapist. Like,
Oh my god, that's why sometimes I don't
yeah.
trust AI.
And then
It's
all of
like
a sudden I had like I was like saying my life story to this one lady, and she sounded so cold, and I was like,
mm,
I'm just trying to talk about that I got dosed last weekend.
that
That's
sounds
it.
awful. Yeah, I mean,
I mean, it was, y'all, you're all going to go through different trials and tribulations. But if you get brought involved with the wrong crowd, sometimes you can just be having like a sip of like even like an iced tea. It doesn't matter, you know? And then it's like, woo, the room is spinning. What's
wow,
happening?
that's like a
And
new
then
thing I'm
And
right
then the
now.
next thing you know, like your jaw is dislocated like mine is. Like, it's like it's still not going to place now.
Yeah. Oh,
I
imagine
mean,
that.
it's fucked up.
Oh my
And
god.
I mean, I'm happy enough that they dropped me off at my front door.
That's good at least. It's good they got you home. I mean,
Because they're ripped motherfuckers. This is the uncut episode to where
yes, the uncut episode where I'm suddenly
any
realizing we
question
probably
you
shouldn't
want to
mention your
hear,
last
like,
name because we don't want to get sued.
yeah, we don't do that shit. We do
We don't want.
not do that shit.
We do
So
not.
like, Andrea is
Yes.
aware of the fact of that I just wrote a book.
Yes. Oh, that was our other topic today. Alicia just finished a book. Well, it's a rough draft at the moment, but it's looking
It's a
hot,
gritty
juicy.
it's a gritty everything in my life that I think's important
Mm-hmm.
to say aloud.
Chapters have already been leaked, so you can probably find them online wherever people leak stuff. I don't know, but I guess you and my
Dark web, deep web, everywhere.
yeah. So it is some hot and juicy stuff. Alicia's life story, and she is writing it. And do you want to talk more about that?
And I thought, one of the things I didn't like that when I found out that it got leaked
Oh yeah.
is that like it hadn't been edited.
Oh
Like
God, I
you
know that is.
hadn't
I would be
you
probably
hadn't even
skeptical.
read it, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay. Also, there's some important
because I
people
know
and
rough drafts
facts.
and the later drafts are so different.
And
So
it was a little bit different because I did it, and I did this in a very, very authentic way.
mhm.
Like each thing is like a step in my life, and like
Right.
the trials and tribulations of like it's not all sad. A lot of it is glamorous, whatever. But it's like people think if you become a model that you automatically have like everything in life. I'm telling you right now, guys, that's not true.
Right from this woman, and yeah, that's a good
The more
point.
clout that you get around you, the worse that'll ever be. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I've been crying and crying all night. Like that's why I look like I got just punched out in a knife fight. And my jaw, ah, I can't deal with this thing. They wanted to wire it shut, and I was like, ah,
How
I'm
are we
not
supposed to
about that.
eat? Is it like they give you a straw at a protein shake, or?
And it's because right here,
Oh,
so they tried to put it back into place yesterday, and I don't wear bandages like like you should.
That's such a model thing. You're like, I can wear bandages.
I really could not give a shit because I don't go by all of the norms. Have
Yeah,
you ever
you're
gone by the
and
norms?
also you have the right. Here's another point. You have the right to refuse health care when you want to. You have the right to refuse mental health care
Yeah,
and do
and you have
other
the
kinds of
right
health.
to never go and get any
If there
help.
are times, I mean, I certainly refused medications before. I refused Thorazine and Haldol because I knew they would make me into like a
Oh,
brain bleed
I'm
kid,
such
and
an
I was like
asshole.
down. I was like, no, I think that's really excessive for my
If they have me at the hospital,
that.
like I literally like I can't handle it. I'm like,
This was my psychiatrist.
no, 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 no.
I told her I practiced witchcraft, and she would like wanted to put me on Thorazine, and I'm like, whoa, like you need to chill. Like that was scary.
Thorazine,
Thorazine, like that's what they used to put people
Thorazine.
on.
That's
That's
from like
old school, like that cuckoo's nest story. Yeah, old school
that's
over,
like
right? That's a drug
that's like a
you don't use anymore.
1940s stuff.
Yeah, that's like a 1940s antipsychotic, and I am currently on Abilify, which is a much
And
more
by the
modern
way,
antipsychotic.
now it
So
sounds fun to take, but
talk and function. Like, I would say the fun comes more from the
sorry
coffee than
everyone, I've been a junkie. Like,
I haven't.
not a
But
not a junkie, but like that just sounds interesting to take.
no,
Like if you
I've
go on a
taken, I've
trip with,
been given Haldol. I mean, they gave
like
me a shot.
it sounds like doing like
Not
and
nice. I
like
couldn't read
doing.
and think. I couldn't do
I mean,
anything.
Isn't Thorazine like a psychosomatic?
I don't know. I know Thorazine is an antipsychotic, but I also know it's an extremely strong sedative. So it's
Yeah, I
basically to
know.
just block
I've just
you
heard
out so
about
that you
it.
can't do anything bad. But I wasn't
I,
gonna do anything bad. I mean, and my religious
Thorazine,
practices are none of this woman's business.
Thorazine, like
Thorazine.
literally
It's called witchcraft.
Thorazine.
Thorazine. In this was not that long ago. This was in LA in like before I got the psychiatrist I had after her that I had until I was here for yeah.
That is some nutter
That is some
butters.
gnarly shit. That really shocked me. I was like, okay, I guess I have to be more careful who I talk to about my religious
Oh, they wanted me to go on what's that horse tranquilizer?
ketamine.
Ketamine. Yep. They
Yeah,
wanted
I've
me
had a
to.
therapist who wanted me to do ketamine treatments too, but I was like, they're so expensive and insurance doesn't
No,
cover them where you live. There's no way I can do
I
that.
didn't care about the money. I was just like, wait, me on a horse tranquilizer?
It
Like,
seems like heavy stuff. I've known people that were
well,
addicted,
you know what?
and
Apparently, so like my TMS doctor, Dr.
mm,
Jacks over at the Brain Institute,
mm.
new Brain Institute in Beverly Hills, everyone. So just so you know, Dr. Jacks. And full transparency, this is raw and uncut. So he takes people that are ultra, ultra, ultra suicidal and puts them to sleep and induces this the horse tranquilizer. And I
Oh,
guess it
the ketamine.
or the ketamine. I guess but
I've heard
it's
it's
not. It's
incredibly
not. It's
effective.
not
I have
microdosing.
heard really good things about it.
It's not
But
microdosing. It's
yeah, they
just
give you a good solid
it,
dose, and
it's mainly for people that are very manic and very, very depressed.
yeah, yeah. I
Because
mean, I
that can
have
happen at the same time,
I can
everyone.
see it helping me, but until it starts
No,
to
no, like these are for people who are
happen,
like literally about to slit their wrists, you
yeah,
know.
I'm not nowhere
And,
like that.
but yeah, we're both not at that point. But
Mm-hmm.
the interesting thing is that he induces them, like puts them to sleep 1 hour, putting that together, and then they just go to sleep for the weekend, and then they come back and they're kind of normalized.
Hey, that doesn't sound so bad. Yeah, I mean, everything I've heard about the treatment, it doesn't sound like it's so bad.
I don't like the whole idea of
Cost and
microdosing because anybody.
microdosing is a different thing. Isn't that like with psychedelics, like mushrooms or something? I could be wrong. I could be wrong. My
No,
drug
they
knowledge
no, they
is
have these
fine.
like they have these like tablets that
Oh, it
like
actually is.
dissolve. It's a
I mean,
sublingual.
oh, it's sublingual tablets of stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't. I don't.
I tried one of those
I don't know about
when I was down in Long Beach,
that.
and
Mm-hmm.
all I can tell you, because my friend told me it was a Xanax, and it was definitely not a Xanax. And
Mm-hmm.
anyways,
Big difference between a Xanax
I came to in a hospital.
and a oh no, that sounds like it didn't work out.
Nah, 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 nah.
Yeah.
Like literally, my heart rate went down so fast. I was
Mm-hmm.
like ghost faced.
Oh man, that sounds
And
terrible.
then,
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you about other things that I've done.
Okay, let's have Alicia drug hour. I mean, Alicia's story hour. It not
I've
necessarily.
done ayahuasca.
Oh
That
wow, I've done that.
I've done it 4 times.
I've heard of it, but I've never.
I've done Kentucky ayahuasca, and I've also done like Amazonian ayahuasca. And I can tell you
Hmm.
this: that shit did not heal me. I was always the responsible one. Then I would get like the vomits, and you know
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes out of every corner. It's disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And then your friends are tripping around you, and it's like, what is going on?
That sounds
It's like it's a really for
not
some people
chaotic.
they like swear by it.
I
I,
mean, I've
on the
heard
other
there's
hand,
a
I mean,
treatment
if
for
I've
like
done it
things from
4 times in
cancer
my
to
life,
like different mental illnesses to like heroin addiction. I've heard it's like a treatment for all sorts of different stuff, but I guess that really
yeah, they
depends.
say, they
They
say, they
say,
say,
they say exactly.
but that's for someone who's pretty much already out of their way. It's more for
Like
like
a last ditch kind of.
it's supposed to be for someone who's more stabilized and wants like spiritual healing. And for me,
Mm,
it never worked any time. Oh, I
mm.
mean, a couple of times I like had visions of my friends and stuff like that, and like people that like have died come back, and
Oh wow.
I was like, this is, and then all of a sudden I'm vomiting. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, ayahuasca, not again, not again.
Yeah.
But I can get influenced into. That's another thing we got to talk about.
Oh yeah, peer pressure.
The influence, like peer pressure, like
I
that
also.
shit. I mean, you can meet a person that you think is your idol or whatever. Don't idolize anyone. You are your own perfect person on your own. We each have our own ability to become like incredibly strong. No matter what social media tells you, stop looking through all these other things to like kind of idolize you, you know?
Looking through screens to find yourself.
Like, did you not feel like when you got more and more into social media that it like affected you?
I was already in my mid 30s when I got my first iPhone, so it's hard to say. It's like I was, yeah, late in life. I know, but like,
No, no, no. That was funny for you to say. When you got your first iPhone, you were in your mid 30s. I'm like,
it's true though. Seriously, I'm that old, and they didn't have them. I mean, I basically got my first cell phone in like 2001, and it was one of those old boxy old flip ones. And I've had flip phones, and yeah, all through the
it was
years,
like a trio or whatever.
something like that. I mean,
The
I was
Palm
born in the
Trio was the
'70s,
shit.
so I've had I've come through like without the internet and without cell phones, and then come back and come into
But
this like
okay, so you
technoverse.
you as an adult,
As an
right,
adult, yes. So
going
yeah,
in
I have a
to
different approach, different
the
relationship to
metrium of
everything.
not only video games but like
Hmm. I did
everything
play
from
video games as a kid.
TikTok to Instagram to
Yeah,
Facebook. Like,
a lot of Instagram on it.
what did it change about how you felt about yourself?
Well, it definitely made me realize I was really into Tumblr when I first got into the internet too, and I was made me realize that like at first I didn't believe people could see I was typing on the other side. I didn't believe and really understand how it
You got
worked.
some haterade too.
Yep, I probably did. I probably did. I mean,
No, like literally, like if you stand for something, there's going to be people that are going to come and
yeah, I mean, there's
hit you
people in
down.
LA that hate me and accuse me of horrible things
I
that
mean, like if through
haven't happened.
politics or whatever, like they're going to.
And I, I mean, I'm just glad I don't live in LA and I don't have to deal with it. I mean, people are gonna
And
think
I'm
whatever they're
still
gonna
stuck here.
think. Yeah, but
I'm stuck. I
I
can't.
still miss it like
I
crazy. I
cannot
mean, I missed
wait
LA
until like
IU in 2005, 15,
I can't wait to be
5.
like a butterfly and fly away from here. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So,
admittedly, I'm very
more
content
questions that
here.
I think that people would want to know about that we know about would
Yeah,
be
okay, because yeah, we're about at the half-hour mark. So what else do you want to know?
when people start getting clout.
Clout. You
And
know a lot about this subject, so definitely illuminate us as to clout.
so, clout is when you get this fandom immediately and you don't know what it means. And it could be dangerous. Like, people will just all of a sudden, like, hop on you. Pardon me, this is raw and uncut, but hop on your
It's
ass.
like I don't know if we can swear around here, but I mean they let the last
I
swear
mean,
word up.
hop on
So
your ass is not that bad.
no,
No,
no, it's not
I
like
kept it down. I was gonna
it's
say
not like I'm
something,
reading chapters from my novels with
and
kids.
like
So
she's gotten to see how many people have stalked me. It's been like,
yeah, I mean sometimes fame is not a good thing. I mean. We're taught to want it, and especially in LA, taught everyone. I have so many people move there wanting to be famous, moving there to be
but
famous. I mean, I moved there to go
but
to
the
grad
thing
school, but it
is it's
was to
not
be.
just in LA. There's people in Minnesota that are being
Yeah,
stalked
that's true
every
too.
day.
I mean, that's sort of the ideal. You think that's gonna like solve all your problems and make
And so you
everything
know
better.
what I wanted my next book to be about, which I have not told anyone.
Oh wow, exclusive.
Exclusive. Okay, so
I like the topic of the
you
discussion.
know how these like rappers and people in the industry just die and you can't even find them online anymore.
I didn't know about that, but that's pretty interesting.
I've got like a list of about 19 people I know. And it's like,
Whoa,
whoa.
whoa,
My
that
I'm
is
like,
interesting.
and I
That would
mean
be very interesting.
it's a deep, like it starts in Vallejo, goes all the way to New York. It's just disgusting. These are these young little things that get, and I'm trying to not
Yeah.
cry about it, you know. But so that's my next book. That's my next like chapter in life, is to actually introduce like why artists are targeted. And
That you have a lot to say on that subject. That would be really good.
I
Why
don't
don't
even
you
know what
give
I'm
the
like. I don't
audience
even know
tell
what
them
I'm gonna
the
call. I
title,
don't even know what I'm gonna
the
call
title
it
of your
yet.
first book. Tell them the title of your first book because it's such a good title. I love it.
Ah,
It's, or I can tell
redhead.
them if you want me to.
No, you tell them. Go ahead.
Okay. The title of Alicia's first book, the one that's already leaked right now, that's going to be out soon. We don't know on which publisher. It's called The Redheaded Stilettos. Redheaded Stilettos, and you're going to want to read it. You can probably
I
find
mean,
it on somewhere, but it
it's
won't
some
be in
juice
print.
caboose. I don't know if I'll do like the reading for it.
Right, the edited final version will come out later. It'll be more like a coffee table book with pictures of her modeling.
By the way, this is apple juice, you guys. This is not anything
Oh god,
exciting.
it looks like a drink.
It looks like I'm drinking like
It looks
whiskey.
like
No,
I don't know.
it's straight up 100% apple juice. Like it came
It
from
also
this
looks like
bottle,
apple
yo.
juice, so I believe you. The proof, yes, it is apple
truth,
juice.
truth, but like, who can drink from a bottle like that? Like, literally.
Yeah, I mean,
I love myself some apple juice, but Yeah, Red and Stilettos is raw, uncut, and it's
All
featuring.
truth. Tell all.
It's a tell-all story of my life.
Good stuff. So I
Because
think
I mean,
that's a good
I've
point
been
to
I've
close
been
on.
faced with like
How about-
really bad cancer and other things in between, and I feel like if I don't say these things,
Right.
who
This is
else is
your
gonna say
chance
them?
to speak, you know? And that's what.
And you're actually in 2 chapters.
I can handle that. I
Yeah,
mean, I wrote a whole book that you're in, Hollywood Edgewood. I
yeah,
fully
you're
wrote
in
two.
you're in 2 chapters. I'll send you over all the hard copy, and it's an interesting feed. Well,
Interesting. I'm excited to read it.
it reveals a lot about different people
Ooh, this is going to be fun.
in the industry, and also my own experiences personally, and how I got to cope and handle with these things. And coping, you and I know, is one
Yes.
of the hardest motherfucking things.
Yes. It's
Like
like
when you go
constantly
through
trying to
grief and
cope.
loss,
Is sort of coping.
it's
But
like
I mean, this
it's
morning I'm
like,
coping, but this morning I'm not
and
really fighting anything. So
I mean, probably this afternoon I'll have a panic attack or something. It's just like my own tale of what's happened.
yeah,
I mean, I've been a model for now. What is it? 20. It's going on 24 years. Yeah, it started when I was 11.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm an old fart.
So. You're saying that to a 50-year-old woman, but like
Like in the industry, like
in the
you don't.
yeah, I understand in modeling. Yeah, that
And by the way, I was bullied as a kid, y'all. And like, I mean, I had friends, but always in different like dividends. I just became really, really smart. And my dad had cancer, and that was like something that made me just run away. Sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, it sounds like I mean, a teenager offered the opportunity would probably just be like, "Yes, this is it. I'm going."
No, I wasn't about that. Like I was more about like being at home and stuff like that. But I also had an abusive sister or whatever. But you don't have to get into all my story. I mean, you
Your
guys know.
story will be told. It will be told.
It's all in the book. Literally, it's all in the book. And there's some funny stories about Andrea. I
Oh
can't just call you
God.
Andrea. Like,
You can call me Andrea. I feel like because now there's Kamala Harris, I can be Andrea Lambert. It's okay now because I like that
yeah,
pronunciation.
and go Kamala, go Kamala, go
Yes,
Kamala.
that's who I'm voting for. That's who we're voting for.
I already voted for her.
Good for you. I'm waiting for my mail-in ballot.
I
Oh,
mean,
it's
I
gonna
don't know
take so
why I
good.
got such an early one. It's kind of funny. Maybe it's an LA thing. Who
It's an
knows?
LA thing. Yeah.
Like I remember when I used. Wait, I shouldn't say that. This is raw and uncut, but
Remember, this is going to be on the air. This is going to be on
yeah, I was going to talk
all
about
over
Gavin
the
Newsom
different
and his
places
wife.
that we're distributing. I've just got it distributing. So.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. Gavin Newsom is awesome.
Oh yes, yes. He was president. He was. I mean, not president. He was mayor of San Francisco when I was lived there, and I remember he was doing a good job.
Yep. So, what's one of your most proud moments in life?
Oh yes, that's a fun thing to think about. I think one of my proudest moments was when I was giving my MFA thesis reading after getting it was pretty much like at graduation, having already earned the degree, and my parents were there in the audience, and I was reading from this book, which was my thesis, and which is a very as one of my
Jet Set
ex-boyfriends put
Desolate.
it, a gnarly book. And I was reading this one scene, which is an homage to Diana de Prima's
Wow,
Memoirs
that's
of a
an
Demon.
amazing.
I'm
That
gonna,
I do you have video footage of that?
I wish I had video. No one had phones then that like recorded it, so I don't think there's video in existence. But I have photos. I have photos.
I might
There
be
might be
able to
some
be
on my
able to pull
website
things up. I'm pretty good
that you
at
can
that.
find
Being a
because I think there's
paralegal
photos
now.
of reading. But I remember when I was reading this one scene that basically involves it's a sex scene, but it also tells a lot about the characters
In front of your parents?
in front of my parents, which also revealed the fact that I had been a drug addict before I went to graduate school, which they didn't know. And all of this came out all at once, but I happened to be on a stage at a podium reading and really getting my degree, my
And
master's degree.
what was their reaction?
They were just like, wow, we're so proud of you. And oh my God, we kind of thought so. We kind of thought you were on drugs. Yeah. I used to have a cocaine problem.
How do you kind of know? It's either you know or you don't know.
They didn't know for sure. They didn't know for sure because I didn't tell them.
Oh.
But I'm just,
Well, you're a tame enough person.
right. I mean, it's.
I mean, you
I
don't
got through
you
it.
don't ride wild like I do.
Yeah. I've heard that song.
Is that a song?
Oh, my girl likes to. You were telling me about that
Or
last
a party girl by Asher Roth. Yeah, that's
Yes,
about
that's
me.
about her. She told
And
me.
that's about my ass.
Yes.
My
So,
girl, she drinks and smokes, and then she goes to fashion shows, forth and back. Back she goes, and take a dick just like a pro. Yeah, I was not excited when I first heard it. And
understandable.
then I started to laugh, and then they gave me residuals, and I was like,
And residuals can't. That's
I was
not a bad
like,
thing.
I was like, all right, this is not that bad, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when this came out, my ex boyfriend, who's in it, who's the evil character, contacted me and is like, "So where's my money? Aren't you going to give me money for being in it?" And I'm like, "That's not how this shit works."
Okay, so
First of all, I
y'all want to
didn't
know
get
a
paid for
funny
this movie,
story?
but
Because I'm allowed to just say this.
But yeah,
So
go on.
the original supermodel, right?
Mm.
Janice.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why she thinks that she was a supermodel is because she fell off the back of a runway. She just walked right off into people,
Oh no!
and she was like,
Like the
"I
one
could
episode of
fly."
Sex and the City where she like collapses.
And that's the reason why she thought that she was the original supermodel.
Got it.
This is raw and uncut. I mean,
Juicy
it's the
gossip.
truth, and like Janice is great. Like people don't understand like everything about her. I can tell you a couple things. She's a good mom. She's a good friend, and she's great at getting plastic surgery.
Well, she looks great. I mean, that's all I know
I
about her.
mean, yeah, she's becoming like ageless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some people manage to do it. It's
I
remarkable.
mean, Cindy Crawford, she does not age. That girl does not crack.
They have like creams you can put on your skin now that are so amazing. You would just
I mean, like, I, when I like literally have been doing a couple of jobs, right? It was interesting. Is like, are you 27? I was like, add a decade.
yeah, you're like, yeah, you could say that. I'm 27, man.
I mean, it depends. Like, if you put the wig
A
on me or
decade.
whatever.
Oh, oh shit. Oh, I stopped swearing. Oh no, oh good, there you are. Okay. I
Oh,
know my foot
Sam.
moved, and I think you got cut off for a second, but you're back. Okay.
No, because it said potential spam.
Potential spam.
Yeah.
Is someone trying to attack my system?
Oh, you want to tell me a little bit about that? Like, you've been on the phone with me and heard shit?
I've yeah. This is
Uh,
a totally separate issue we're going to talk about.
I got hacked.
But Alicia's had some serious identity theft, and her phone is tapped, and I think my phone might be tapped too. So whoever's listening to my phone conversations, our phone conversations, could you please keep it down in the background because I can hear you laughing and talking to each other, and it's like really distracting. Like if you're gonna eavesdrop, at least do so quietly. Like could you? The least I could ask. Anyway, that's kind of like out there. I mean, a schizophrenic is saying this, but a
That was the
schizophrenic
most
would be
parental
hearing it
thing that
too.
you've ever said. Like, can you guys all just keep it down, yo? Like,
Like, can you at least eavesdrop quietly,
Or put
like
it
I know
on
it may not
mute.
be all that entertaining, but
Like we don't
yeah.
have that much that we talk about that's that interesting. It's just our day-to-day
Yeah, I mean,
lives.
a lot of the time, it's just commiserating about this, that, and the other, and
And like this girl has gotten on the
so.
so another thing I want to ask you about. What do you think about dating apps?
Oh my god, dating apps. But one thing I didn't know was that Bumble is a hookup app, not a dating app. I didn't know that. Luckily, that's all I was looking for anyway, so that's what I found. And it wasn't bad.
Have you tried
Um,
the other ones? Me on
I
Bumble.
have I have tried other ones. I've tried some lesbian ones, and I found a woman that turned out to not be all that she said she was, and had a very sort of messy, very short-lived marriage, which I'm very glad to be out of now. And
So
that's
back in the day when COVID hit,
mm-hmm.
I was in a very abusive relationship. I got out of it, and I called it Pulver Palooza because I got on Tinder and I met a bunch of like friends through there, like not actually like hookups. Like
Interesting, because Tinder is a hookup app too, supposedly, but like a lot of
and
these
now
apps,
I'm
you meet someone.
I know I'm apparently banned from the app and from Grinder, and I'm not a dude, so I don't know how that
That's
happened
funny.
too.
Yeah, I
But
remember the first time I used Bumble, I was like, "Oh, this is what it must feel like to use Grinder for gay guys," and I was psyched.
no, Tinder was like just meeting friends basically at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
because
that's a good thing to
this was
do. I
like
mean,
this was COVID times,
yeah, in
and it
COVID
was
times,
like
kind of
I was
cool
like
doing
I just
that
had to
stuff.
like ask you like, are you
Really lonely.
vaxxed? You know,
Uh,
that was my main thing. Like if you're gonna come by my place, like,
yeah, you better be vaxxed. Yeah.
and I had a really fun place in Brentwood, and like the pool. I don't know how I never fell in. I do not know. Because it was right outside of my doorstep. And I'm
Oh my
clumsy
god, nice.
AF, you know? Like,
Uh-huh. Sweet.
and it's before they put up the gates and everything. I
Mm.
mean, it was crazy AF. So I had tons of friends from there.
That sounds fun.
Like, it was like, what else were we going to do, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that was a really rough time during COVID. I had COVID, and so I was just really sick, and like
Speaking about
watching
that,
my marriage go up in
she got
flames.
more sick than anyone I've
I got
ever heard of from
so
COVID.
sick.
Like it almost took away her life.
It did. I mean, I'm really surprised I survived it. And after
I
I
mean,
put
I
my life
can't say it.
out, my ex-wife,
Actually, I know 5 people that died from COVID, so I can't say it. You mean the
yeah,
most?
people did die. There were times when I would just like go. I mean, I couldn't get out of bed for about 3 years. There were times when I was going in and out of consciousness and like had no idea who I was or where I was. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm very much right here, right now, knowing what I'm doing, knowing
But
what's going
but
on.
okay,
But like
we also
then,
this is the raw uncut version.
I
So,
was not myself those days, those
do
years.
you think that that made you very vulnerable to being taken advantage of?
I don't know because I wasn't really interacting with anyone because I knew I shouldn't, and also I was not really coherent enough to interact.
But your ex-wife.
Except for my ex-wife, she was the only person who knew where I lived, and I wasn't able to get the locks changed till a bit later. I don't recall if I took her key or not. I don't recall how we worked all that out, but luckily she did go live
So
elsewhere
all y'all need
after
to know
several
one
lives.
thing is that if you are sick and suffering, you could be very not aware of people that want to
Mm-hmm.
take over what you have.
Yeah, and that was a big part of what ruined my marriage also, in addition to the stuff I told you earlier, which is not going on the
And
air.
and her story is deep, deep, deep. She'll probably give it out in a book.
Yeah, it's
But
waiting for a book or
it's
whatever.
too raw. It's
It's
too
too
raw.
raw for this, and I don't feel like comfortable.
And, I mean, we're doing raw and uncut right now, but it's not
But
my.
there's only so deep we're gonna
I mean,
go.
you want to ask me any questions?
Hmm. Actually, no. Whenever you ask me that, my mind just goes like, bloop, and I don't know what to ask you. But I think we're good. I think we've covered a lot of topics, and I
I
think
think we
like
have
maybe do you want to? I'm closing.
we
What are
gotta
your closing
cover
remarks?
one thing more.
Okay, one more
is that
lubricant. Okay.
if y'all are suffering in any kind of way, you can send us a message and or call 211.
If you're in California, I don't. I wish I knew the number to call in Nevada.
And there's also 811, and that's international.
Oh, okay.
And you can always, if you're in the industry, you can always contact the. Oh my gosh! Now I just blanked on it.
Wait, the
The
Model
Model,
Alliance?
the Model Alliance, and we'll take care of you. And no one judges, no one cares. We just care about you being okay out there. And there's too many people in the world that could be lost, that need to be found, and just reach out your hand and ask some people in the incorrect realms, because there's certain areas where you can get exploited. Like
Where
so.
I unfortunately discovered. But yeah, so I think we're going to close on that note, which is a serious one, but life is serious. Trauma is
And
serious.
this is Uncut.
This is serious. So thank you so much for listening to A Voice of
And,
Generation X with Andrea
and
Lambert and Alicia Pulver.
Andrea, I've got a question.
Oh, sure, hon.
Before you wrap this up,
Okay, before we wrap this up,
what's the one thing that made you healthier?
yoga. So I'm serious. I'm not. I'm actually not joking. I'm actually serious. Yoga. I did so much yoga between after I when I was getting sober and when I like just for the next 10 years I did yoga, and it really helped me like straighten myself out.
Just yoga?
Yoga and tarot readings and like getting into witchcraft, getting into sort of a mysticism.
And getting a couple of friends,
Getting friends, I mean, it was a mixed bag of a lot of different things that really helped.
But so yoga.
But
Yoga
yoga
was
was
your thing.
instrumental. No, yoga was the first thing I did that really started pulling me into
And
a different world where
what
I could
made
feel
you know
good
that
and
you could start
feel.
entering relationships again?
Well, I think the lady at you remember that lady at our rehab that like I think she gave me permission. Sorry,
Oh, the blonde one?
the blonde one with well, I can't say no, the blonde one.
It wasn't a rehab, it was like an instant
It was
rehab.
an outpatient sort of thing.
Oh, the IOP
IOP, yeah, the one we went to, yeah,
that I got kicked out of.
yeah. that I didn't do.
I have a lot of health conditions, hence why I get kicked out of like the vast majority of like normal scenes. Like, been there,
Yeah,
done
I
that.
was really.
I can give a fuck if people
Yeah.
judge me. Like, literally, like, been there, done that. It's happened. You know.
Yeah, it happened, and you know that was years ago. So maybe
Oh my gosh, that was so many years
that
ago.
was like a decade
That's when
ago.
I had my stalker.
Yeah, that's when I was dating good old what's his name? Who of course I remember his name, but I don't think he'd want me to release it on air.
um, Harry.
You would hate that, and so do I. Bobby
Harry's
Hernandez.
like.
He's known as he's known in my fiction. That's when I was dating good old
I'm
Bobby.
saying like Harry Menendez, whatever.
That's yeah okay.
Scary.
Scary Potter. No,
That's actually cute.
that is cute. Except I can't with J.K. Rowling anymore
Yeah,
after
he
her.
was lovely to you.
He was lovely to me. He really was. He really was lovely to me, and we had a good time. And you know,
Remember when we
yeah,
saw that Prince show?
that was so fun.
Okay, so I was with my ex fiance,
You two were
and
engaged.
yeah, we were freaking engaged.
That's just so in life.
Isn't it like a, ooh, yeah, we were.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm breaking up with you, and he said, I'll never forget this. Well, I'm not breaking up with you. I'm like, well, I'm gonna start seeing other people.
Yeah, you're like, well, it is. So
Yeah,
waiting for
so it's kind of going. Jr. We're gonna call him.
okay, that works. It sounds like that. Wasn't there some soap opera? Dynasty. Yeah, didn't Dynasty have a J?
Oh, Dynasty was a great.
I've only seen a few episodes.
I've seen all.
I want to watch them. It seems like they'd be really funny to
Oh,
watch.
I deep dive like when
And Joan Collins is
all of a sudden when I'm like gone for a couple of days, it's like, what is she doing? Generally, I'm deep diving into that show.
Yeah.
And by the way, we highly encourage you guys to watch some of the Vice episodes.
Oh yes. Alicia's here is the authority on Vice documentary, and showed me a really good one today that I watched. Oh no, that was.
And what's that? What's the name of that
What
one?
was it called? It was one of those.
It's about the cartel and
It was
the
about money
Chinese
laundering.
syndicate.
It's really interesting.
Pardon me?
No, yeah, the documentary was about. It was about this very complex form of multinational.
Yeah, it's the Chinese syndicate and the Sinaloa cartel.
Right. So that's
And
interesting stuff.
it's, I mean, that one is incredibly interesting, and also the ones about you. I always butcher the name, and I really apologize. I don't mean to do it out of like being insincere. The Uyghurs. Am I saying it correctly?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they've got two different episodes, and it's about one is called "They Come in the Night," and the other one is like part two.
Oh,
And it is something that will shock you, but it's real life.
let's check out.
And like
Are there any
Andrea is, I can't believe I just called you Andrea. I never call you that. Andrea? I always call you Andrea. Oh my gosh, it's so funny because I just saw your name on there. I was like, Andrea. I was like, no, Andrea.
You can call me Andrea or Andrea. Either one. My
You've always been Andrea in my mind. Always. Always and always. So she is an incredible artist. Like, she's been able to see things in a perspective that I don't know if many other people could grasp her genius. But it just takes, like, once you get to know it, it's like if you like Bukowski, if you like Banksy, if you like, you know, people that speak out of the scene, like talk about things in an eccentric way, that's your girl.
Thanks.
And
Well, thank you for joining us. I
and
feel
by
like
the
we're too
way,
close. We're at the half hour point.
if you guys want to put down like things that you want Andrea to write about.
Oh yeah, I could use some new inspiration and material. So if anyone wants to add in the comments like topics to they think I should write about,
And if they want to be on the podcast with you,
or if they want to be on this podcast, yes, because they have the software now where we can have guests and so forth. So that would be very cool as well. So,
because she's making a movement that's just about educating and giving also personal stories that need to be told
right.
that
Part of
really
me
heal the
telling my
soul.
life about like sharing these stories so other people can relate because some of these are stories that aren't told. Like I remember going into the library when I was young and looking for stories that I could relate to, and stories that were things that had happened to me, and I couldn't find that. I couldn't find that in the 1980s and the 1990s, and then gradually I started writing so much, and other people started writing so much, and now there's so many great stories, and there's so many great authors, and it's just wonderful to see. Like I look at threads and I'm like, oh my god, another schizoaffective author and another one and queer authors, and yay! It just makes me so happy. So keep writing and message us, and thank you for listening to A Voice of Generation X with Andrea Lambert and Alicia Pulver. Goodbye.